Welcome, you guys. So this fun three-pop pick a card is titled, "What is their karma for trying to make you go crazy, drive you insane?" All right? We're talking about toxic masculine and toxic feminine energy. This is what toxic masculine energy will do to make you go, to get you extremely angry, okay, especially if you're a feminine that they're interested in, who you're not paying them any attention. In group gang stalking, they will target the thing that they like about you, and they'll try to get you to stop doing that so you can stop being noticeable, so they can isolate you and basically normalize abuse with psychological torture. This shows up in a lot of, bullying. You can have someone, try to hurt your feelings, and then the next they're trying to give you a backwards handed compliment, and then once again they're trying to act as if you guys are good, and then once again they're being blatantly abusive, just targeting you, hitting you, like saying things that they basically projecting their fear into you. However they talk to themselves, they're talking to you. And it's like every time you see them, because you're not paying them attention, they just start jabbing and jabbing at you, hoping to irritate you, hoping to simply, have you develop a trauma bond of, emotional poison, resentment towards them. Especially if you're a mature feminine and they know that you like to remain graceful, they are intentionally trying to have you develop resentment towards them so you can get stuck and not reach your full potential. Why is this important? When there is resentment in your emotional body, you don't have clarity how to move forward. So a lot of toxic masculine will target healthy feminines because this is their way of trying to be remembered. If a healthy feminine already has a healthy masculine, or is attracting a healthy masculine, or has a healthy masculine, toxic masculine will try to beat down a healthy feminine with bullying. They'll even, if they can, sexual harassment, and if they also can, sexual trauma. Stay aware of this. Anyone who is willing to, especially a toxic masculine, if they're willing to bully you, always constantly pick on you, and instead of just saying I'm emotionally interested in you, but I understand I'm not emotionally mature enough to engage in this thing, if they can't speak in a manner where it's clear communication, but they're adult toxic men acting as if they're hurt children on a playground because they didn't get the toy that they wanted, so they're trying to beat people up. But it's going to be obvious if they're physically putting their hands on you and you guys aren't close, okay? So this is why toxic masculine, they'll see how far they can push you with straight ass mocking you, picking on you, especially if they're interested. And this is stuff that as it gets into adulthood, this can turn into rape, okay? And most of the time when a woman becomes a victim of rape, the rapist, a toxic masculine most of the time, will try to act as if the person that they have been gang stalking and bullying this whole time is crazy, especially when the victim decides to report rape. So if you have individuals who are showing signs of rape, you know, make sure you keep your distance from them, because and don't be too friendly with them, because if you come off too friendly with them, then they're going to start trying to physically touch you. If you show fear when they're blatantly being disrespectful to you, this is going to give them the cue that they can just go up and start trying to sexually harass you and get away with it. The more you sit there and let them know, I don't give a flying fuck what you doing, karma gonna take care of your ass. The more they keep making an ass out of themselves, you guys, the more they're going to draw attention to themselves by the wrong people. And you're just going to sit there and watch a group of toxic masculines be taken out by their biggest fear, okay? This message was needed for someone who's trying to figure out they're really good people, and why is it that toxic masculine keeps trying to beat them down? Because literally they don't like that you are good on your own. Toxic masculine is highly codependent, and they don't know how to make it by themselves, okay? and they want the easiest route. So if you're a kind, caring individual, they're going to try to force their way into your life whether you want it or not. This is why you keep your distance, and you have very limited conversation with them, especially if they're trying to force it on you. Okay, this shows that if you say something like, I feel like I need to have a rape whistle. Just using the word rape around a toxic masculine will have them quite aware that they are sounding and coming off extremely creepy. Now, if you are overly open with them, like, hi, 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 let's say you're doing business exchanges with them. If you make that shit personal, this is when they going to feel like they can just overstep boundaries. And then apply some dark ass psychology to make it seem you made it so that we could have this openness, when really they're just distorting communication to cause confusion. Okay, so that if rape does happen and someone reports it, you don't sound consistent in reporting it. This is why a lot of rape cases have not gone through and looked over, because most of the victims are very indecisive in movement, and when you can think of how this type of rape has been playing for quite a long time, you start to become aware, especially if you're a healthy feminine energy, you start to become aware. Don't stop living your life, but be mindful that as you go to and fro, everybody don't have to see the best aspects of you. Everybody doesn't have to get that sweet aspect of you. Everybody doesn't have to experience that nurturing side of you. Okay? Everybody doesn't have to experience the understanding side of you. Feminine energy is not always supposed to be open to any and everything. And most of this bullying by toxic masculine is to make it so that you don't trust yourself emotionally. So that, if the bullying is happening on a consistent basis, you start to think this shit is normal. That you eventually would just give into it and whatever it is they say do, because, they obviously are implying you do what I want you to do and I leave you alone. You give into this shit, the bullying gets worse. And this is where rape cases can take place, okay? When you are experiencing getting bullied by a toxic masculine as a feminine energy, you don't give into that shit. You simply respect yourself more. Because while they may be idiotic enough to have to verbally abuse you because it looks cool in front of the other niggas, they just revealed their mother wound. Now, if they have an enemy who wants to take their asses out, when a toxic masculine is revealing a unhealed mother wound, this also shows aspects of an unhealed father wound. Other masculines will be smart enough and say, okay, I clocked you, nigga, and take that bitch out. Okay? Toxic masculine are highly, competitive. They will compete against a feminine energy because it's easier than competing against another masculine. But other masculines get grimy too. When toxic masculines show their weakness of unhealed wounds from the childhood past, and they express this how they communicate, the intonations, the tones of how they say things, the length of how they speak. This is where other toxic masculines are listening, or even just a healthy masculine, and says, nigga, you been a problem for quite a long time, and I need to make sure we nip this shit in the bud. So if you are a healthy feminine who's being verbally abused by a toxic masculine who is showing signs that he can become quite aggressive, and if he's trying to isolate you by trying to make you think that the qualities that he's envious and jealous of make you incomplete, and they keep trying to distort the version of how you view yourself, realize this is not a time to start believing that bullshit. A healthy man is not going to sit there and try to make a healthy female feel bad about the shit that makes her wonderful. He's going to uplift her consistently, not just to get her, and then all of a sudden once she gets too comfortable, he's over here manipulating her and telling her she ain't shit and isolating her so he can just basically do what he want with her and then go out into the world and disrespect her and put dirt on her name. So if she step out of line, aka not do what he wants, she gets gang stalked by jealous females. All right? This is what toxic masculine do. If you understand that this is not anything to even worry about, that literally toxic masculines are revealing unhealed childhood trauma. And they have enemies. And when they verbally abuse a female, but they don't set healthy boundaries with they quote unquote boys, okay, with they niggas, with they this, this is my coworker. I'm talking about in any variety of life, even if it's in corporate America. If toxic masculine are bitches where they can't even set healthy boundaries with they boys, and they boys competing with them trying to take stuff from them as well. Okay, but they willing to verbally assault a female. This right here is revealing a weakness. So if you are the feminine experiencing this, keep setting that boundary. They want you to speak to them verbally because they're lonely. Okay. They feel if they verbally assault you, it will emotionally upset you and get you talking and chattering and shit. Oh no, honey. We ain't got time for that. You can set boundaries with your body language, your posture, and with your calmness. Calmness will scare the hell out of these niggas. That to hide their fear, they'll just simply keep talking shit about you in front of others. But what they not gonna tell these other people that they verbally assassinating you with and assaulting you with is that they're afraid. Now, if they can't trust the people they're hanging with, doing shit with, to tell them that they're afraid, this means there is there's some betrayal happening. And if the feminine, you remain calm during this type of things when you're being verbally assaulted by toxic masculines. Well, toxic masculines have basically set themselves up to get bitched by the same people that they trying to bitch on you with. Okay? Simply, the biggest teacher here is grace. Grace does not always feel good, but the long-term rewards of grace overpower any hardship that others create for you. Okay? And this isn't a 3-power pick a card. It's more of a channel message. So, I'll make sure I have that information in the title. But I want you guys to understand, if toxic masculine is verbally abusing you, remain graceful, especially if you're feminine, because toxic masculine, they want you to get out of your gentle feminine energy, because if they keep up what they're doing, it's obviously showing they're disrespecting you. Toxic masculine is used to toxic feminine energy that simply just goes along with it. But there's a difference when toxic masculine energy is disrespecting healthy feminine energy. Okay? Toxic masculine energy is much more nastier to healthy feminine energy. And this done in front of the wrong person will not end up very pretty for them, okay? Toxic females who are allowing this shit, they don't get help. Okay? They're the ones who get traumatized and try to traumatize other females that are healthy, okay? Toxic masculines will utilize toxic feminines to lure them in like prey. So, if you are being verbally abused by a toxic masculine, and a toxic feminine is envious and jealous of you and acting like she's your friend, be mindful to remain graceful, because long term, the rewards of you remaining graceful will basically outlive any of these things that these people have planned for you.